Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. You're listening to Recipe for Success. I am your host, Randall Cook, a.k.a. The Chef. Today we'll be talking about money management, and budgeting. You can find me on Facebook at Randall Dane Cook. That's RandallDaneCook. Also on Instagram at Randall Dane Cook. You can email me at successrecipe4u, the number 4 letter U, at gmail.com. You can go to my business page, https://agency.ailife.com/Randall Cook/. You guys, this has been on my mind for a little bit. Money management, budgeting. Our sponsors also for today, you guys, are the Cook Agency, as usual, holding us down, bringing positivity and financial prosperity to the individuals we serve in the community. So you guys, let's talk about money. We're just gonna, I don't got my computer. We're just gonna go straight off the top. These are things that are really close to my heart and areas that I've excelled in. So, guys, first, I'd like to cover budgeting our money. Okay, I've had people to tell me, how can I save more money when everything that I have that I make has to go out towards bills and financial obligations and things that take up all of my money, and most of the time I'm left without enough to take care of things that I have to take care of. In the book that I first referenced when I started my show was The Richest Man in Babylon, that I referenced, like I said, on my first show. And he talks about how is it that we can pay for all of the things that we have to pay for. We can pay for our gas, we can pay for our rent, we can pay our car payments, we can pay for our groceries, we can pay the cable bill. But at the end of the day, we're paying all these other people, but we never pay ourselves, which makes so much sense, is to pay everybody else but not to pay ourselves. And really, after paying our tithes and paying God, right, then we should be paying ourselves very first thing after that. 10% is the minimum number, and any financial advisor, planner will tell you that 10% is what you should put aside for your savings. So now let's talk about this concept of, I don't have enough money because I make a limited amount. I make $400 a week or $800 or $1,000, whatever the case it may be. I want you to think about something for a minute, and it's going to open up our minds into where we're going so we can see the pathway into being able to save and to being able to budget and to manage our finances the right way. So think about, 10, 15 people, some of your close friends, maybe some family members, even other people at work. Different levels, might be your boss, supervisor, lower level employee, and another employee in the same position as you. So we have all these people who make different amounts of money. Somebody makes 30 grand a year, somebody makes 40, somebody makes 80. But what we all know as a general rule in middle income America is that the majority of people live check to check with very, very little savings, maybe a little bit of money left over from last week. The majority of people don't have any significant amount of savings. So how is it that the majority of people live check to check, but they all make different amounts of income? Think about that for a second. The reason that is, you guys, is because as people make money, they typically increase their financial obligations to meet the income that they had. They start making a little bit more money, and they go out and they buy a nicer car. They start making $40,000, $50,000 a year. Now they want to hop into the C-Class Mercedes because they can post that they got a Mercedes, and the emblem is cool, and the car is nice, and now they drive a nice car. All the while, they're still living check to check. And which is why when we get out of a job, we get laid off, we get fired, we quit because we're just looking for something different. We want a better career. We're tired of whatever it is that we're doing. Then we get behind on our bills, get another job, and to continue the cycle all over again, living check to check after we play catch up. I want to encourage you that the first thing you need to do is start saving some of your money. So let me help you out, since all of your money is supposedly spent up every week, every month on your obligations. What you consider your obligations, somebody else considers a luxury, okay? The food that you eat, the type of cable that you have, internet's probably pretty important for most people. Don't get me wrong, you probably need it for work. If you have kids, they need it for school and their homework. A lot of that stuff is done online. They need to Google search things. I understand that. Me, for myself, I make a decent amount of income. I don't have cable at home. I have like 8 Fire Sticks, and I have Amazon Prime, and I have Sling TV, which altogether I probably pay about $25 a month for cable. You know why? Because at a certain point in time in my career as a business owner, I was struggling a little bit because I was investing so much into my business, and I wanted to continue to do so I can grow. So I had to make some personal cutbacks in my life because pouring into myself financially was more important than pouring into things that weren't going to bring any value to my life. I was paying $225, $35, $45 a month, something like that for cable. Every now and then you buy a movie or something like that, there goes an extra $5. I can tell you for a fact that you don't need cable television to operate in your life. I know if you have any kind of cable, it's at least like $100 a month, right? I know it starts off at $45 a month for 3 months or 6 months, and then after that time frame is over, boom, they hit you with the full price, and they gave you Showtime and Cinemax and HBO for free for 3 months, and then we just kind of keep it. Cut your cable off if you need to. It's not necessary. What are you eating every day, every week? Are you eating fast food? Are you eating out? I'll tell you this, I started doing this because I was working out, and it's in order to be healthier, and I needed a lot of protein. I started buying chicken breasts because it's part of my diet regimen. And I realized how inexpensive it was to feed myself versus eating out and fast food that I was eating all the time. You go to Harris Teeter and $1.99 for boneless, skinless chicken breasts. $10, you'll come home with a super big trash bag full of chicken breasts. A half of a chicken breast is enough portion for you to have a meal, and you can start saving some of your money just in the food that you eat. The soda that you drink, you don't need to drink soda. You can drink water and be perfectly okay. You can get some packets of Kool-Aid and some sugar. Super cheap, inexpensive. I know what I'm talking about isn't fancy and living the dream life and doing all the things that you want and have everything that you want and eating out all the time and fancy meals. Guys, we're talking about the things that are necessary in order to help you to begin to save when our money may at this moment very truly be obligated to all of the things that we have that are financial obligations in our lives. This is one small step that you can do to kind of start to save a little bit of money. You got to start peeling back some of the layers of the onion to see where your money is going that is not necessary. Even if you have to get out of a contract with something, I guarantee you'll save a lot more money paying that $130 or $140 to break your contract with whatever cable company that you have versus paying an extra $80, $90, $100, $200 a month every single month. How much more are you going to be out at the end of that 2-year contract or year and a half, whatever it may be? Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to dive a little bit more into some of these details so we can try to help you out in the area of finances and budgeting your money and spending it appropriately. So we'll see you guys right after the break, okay? Welcome back from the break. You are listening to Recipe for Success. I'm your host, Randall Cook, a.k.a. The Chef. We are on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. And to all of my listeners on iHeartRadio and free TuneIn radio app. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram. Got to get them Instagram followers up. It's Randall Dane Cook, RandallDaneCook. Same thing on Facebook. Go to my business page, see what we're doing in the community. Also, if you're looking for work, I can't promise you a job, but I can definitely get you an interview. It's https://agency.ailife.com/Randall Cook/. And if you have questions and you want to email me personally, you can hit me up on successrecipe4u. That's the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. Guys, today we're discussing money, finances, saving, budgeting. We've been talking about areas you can make some cutbacks in so you can save some money because you only make a certain amount and you're in an hourly job or you have a salary career where no matter what goes on in your life, your paycheck ain't getting bigger next Friday. just because you got a flat tire, or just because something's going on with the engine and there's a knocking and you need to get it fixed. Check's going to be the same. You already obligated out. That's cool. We're going to cut back our cable. Don't need cable. We're going to choose some better foods to eat instead of the snacks and the fast food and the big bags of chips and the shrimp scampi and all this unnecessary stuff and freezer foods and little 99-cent burritos and all that kind of crap you get out of the freezer section. Put it down, put it back. You don't need it. Stop feeding your kids all that crap. Anyway, stop feeding that to yourself. You ain't going to live your best life or be healthy eating all that garbage. Plus, it's expensive, okay? So, everybody makes different amount of monies, yet the majority of people live check to check because they increase their spending habits. Here's one area that I am going to absolutely help you. First, you have to make these cutbacks, you guys. Those are just a couple that are very simple and basic. Take whatever else that may be going on in your personal life and financial life and make cutbacks in those areas that aren't necessities. Now, here's the second thing, you guys. Pay yourself a salary out of your salary. I'm telling you this because I've personally done this in my life, and it was a beginning to me having more and gaining more financial prosperity in my life. That's because I personally was in a sales career in the insurance industry, selling life insurance, where it's kind of like dog eat dog. Not with the company that I'm with, but in the industry as a whole, and I'm sure as in any other sales or commission industry. Regardless of how much money I used to make or not make at any particular week, I decided that I was going to pay myself a certain amount of money every Friday. For what I personally needed in my family, it was $500 a week. $500 a week was a salary that I paid myself. If I had a $1,000 check, I took $500 and $500 went in the savings account. If I had a $2,000 check for the week, which those happened often enough, I paid myself $500. The awesome part is that my savings began to grow, as can yours. If I had a $300 week, I still made $500 because I took my $300 that I was paid for my sales and I took $200 out of my savings account and put it with my check. So for me personally, in a sales career, I didn't have ups and downs in my income each week. My income stayed the same and it was very consistent. So let's say you make $600 a week and you're obligated out with all that money. Make some of these cutbacks to where now you can pay yourself $500 a week or $450 a week. Meet all of your obligations and save $400, $500, $600. If you did this for 1 year, saving $150 a week, you'd end up having $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 saved up at the end of the year. Most people have never seen $7,000 in their bank account at one point in time. Most people have never seen $3,000 in their savings account outside of getting their income tax refund. Guys, this is true. This is so factual. I was in a decent career, and I could remember once or twice that I was able to put more than $3,500 in my account, before I got into the industry that I'm in now. Trust me, this is a fact, and we all know this because we live these lives. $7,000 is a lot of money, you guys. I'm telling you because at a certain amount of income, when you start to practice this, saving money becomes addictive, okay? Once you get to 5 and you're continuing on the path, you start to have a lot more security. You start to feel a lot more secure in your life. The decisions that you make are a lot more sound because they're not made out of pressure. Your relationship, if you're in one with your spouse or significant other, may start to see some improvements because you're not stressed out about your guys' financial situation and who's doing their part or not, or who spent what, or where we need to go and what we need to do, or what we can eat, or not being able to allow the kids to participate in football this year because you don't have money for the extracurricular activities. You'll start to see an improvement in a lot of your relationships. You'll make a lot more sound decisions when you have some money. You'll begin to think, if I continue this, I can get to $10,000. And then if I can get to 10, then I can get to 12, and 12 to 14, and that's close to 15. And we just start to look at money a little bit differently than how we have before, is that it's mine. I want to use it. I want to spend it. I don't work so hard so I cannot enjoy myself. But all we do, you guys, is we work all week long. We get paid on Friday, and this is a trend that I see. We take whatever little money that we have left that is not obligated, like we like to claim, to things. We spend it on the weekend, whether it's partying, whether it's alcohol. Some people it's like weed, some people it's food. And whatever it is that we do, we poison ourselves with these leisurely activities so we can feel a little bit better about the fact that we worked hard all week long. And then we dread going back to work on Monday to a career that doesn't provide us with the financial stability that we're looking for. Yet every week we blow everything that we get. Stop doing all that stuff and save those extra dollars, you guys. It'll make a huge impact on your life. Once we get to this point and we've began to save our money, as you start to have a significant amount of savings, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months of all of your bills saved up, then maybe at this point in time, you can give yourself a small raise. But you can if you haven't increased your financial earning capacity. If you save your money, you guys, and you have enough money in the bank and your career is not giving you the income that you desire, you now have some financial freedoms in order to start to look for a different job or a different career in a different field that may allow you some time to transition out from what you're doing into another area. You can only make as much money as your industry pays. If you're a secretary, you get paid what a secretary makes. If you're a nurse, you make between $40,000 and $65,000 a year, maybe $75,000 if you're like a charge nurse or head of the whole department. You can only get paid what your industry pays. So if we're expecting to live a better life and to make more money, but we're still doing the same thing, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter where you go to work. If you're a cashier, it could be McDonald's, it could be Jack in the Box, it could be Walmart, it could be a big box store, it could be a small mom and pop boutique. You get paid what a cashier gets paid. So you have to move out of that field. But financial stability allows you some time to make decisions. It may allow you some time to take some days off and not be worried about not being able to cover the rent, so you don't have enough time off to go look for another job, because we get stuck in that rut, which is what a lot of people do. You take 1 or 2 days off of work and your entire monthly budget can be messed up. Don't let the kids get sick and have to miss work or leave early and go pick them up from school. It throws their whole week off. Everybody knows exactly how much money they make when they work 32 hours because they've missed a day from work before. This will allow you to take those days off if you need to, and you can start to find a different career so you can elevate yourself financially. Guys, these are some small pieces to a bigger part of the puzzle. I know a lot that we talk about on the show is talking about being successful, running, owning, starting a business, you being entrepreneurs, different things to that nature. But if you're not in the position to start a business or to start your own company, we have to start somewhere, right? You have to do what you have to do in order to be able to do the things that you want to do. This is one of the areas, you guys, where it is a necessity for you to operate in this manner, so that way you can begin to move to the next level and start to see a change in your personal life and in your personal finances. So here's another point that I want to cover before we take a break. This is really important, so pay close attention. Don't feel bad about the lack of activities that you're able to participate in as you're making this transition from spending all of your money into saving your money. I notice this a lot more with the younger generation because I was a part of it. We want to go out on the weekend. We want to spend time with our friends, especially when you're younger. A lot of times they want to go out on the town and go downtown, go to the epicenter, or go to the bar, go to the club. You know, you got a $10, $15 cover charge, and you buy a drink. It's going to be like $10. You buy 2 or 3 drinks. Next thing you know, you spent like $50. You do that 4 times a month. That's $200 right there. That could be paying your entire card note. I'm telling you this because we already know this as some of us who are a little bit older. is most of the people that you're trying to spend time with and hang out, your friends, and you don't want to miss spending time with them, they're probably not going to be your friends in the next 5 years. I'm 34 years old. I can count on one hand how many people I still talk to that I went to high school with. And I'm not talking about Facebook friends. I'm talking about people that we call each other. I have contact, just meet up in person when I go back home, or who are here in town, in Charlotte with me. It's a waste of your time, energy, and a waste of your resources. By the time I moved to New Orleans at 22 years old, I remember thinking at a certain point in time, I've probably made close to $200,000 since I was 18 or 17 when I started working. And I didn't have not anything to show for it outside of the car that I was driving that I think at that point in time might have been paid off. Okay. It was a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. You know, the first year they started making the kind of cool model. So it was only like $7,000 or $8,000 when I bought it. And I thought back about my life and thought that I've made $200,000 since I've been 18, and all I have is a car that's probably worth about $3,500, and everything else that I've ever made is all gone. And it went to hanging out, to partying, to spending it on ridiculous things and activities that added no value to my life. I promise you, if I was 20 years old, 22 years old, and I had $80,000 in my bank account, I'd probably be having more fun, living a much better life, and probably having a higher quality of relationships with my friends and my family with that kind of money in the bank. We'll leave off on that note. We got to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to continue on with this discussion and figuring out some ways that we can manage our finances better so we could put ourselves in a position to win later on in life, okay? Talk to you in a few minutes. // Let's finish up. Let's give you a few more things to help you out. How can we get our start? How can we get to where we need to be financially? How can we have the things that we want and the things that we need? It's time, you guys. I don't have any recipes for time. It will take time. I know we live in a microwavable society where we want everything instantly and right now and without the sacrifice. There is going to be a sacrifice in order for you to save, you guys. You have to sacrifice some of your enjoyable activities, enjoyable foods, in order to start putting some money away. There's really no other way that I can put it. Unless you win the lottery or you become some kind of .com millionaire where things happen for you overnight. Outside of that, this is the only way it's going to happen. So here's another tool, you guys, that you can use to help you out. One, I need you to understand what your money is. If you look at it differently, you might appreciate it and have a different value for it. I say this in my business all the time to my agents and to my managers, that money is a tool. And if you don't have any tools, you can't build anything. If you don't know how to use your tools, you once again can't build anything. You give some specialized tile tools to a certain person who has no knowledge of construction, they'll sit in the garage until they get thrown away when they move or they sell them on eBay. If they knew how to use those tools properly, they can remodel somebody's bathroom and make tens of thousands of dollars, but they don't know how to use the tool. Well, guys, our money is the same way. That's the reason that the majority of people who win the lottery go bankrupt, within a couple of years, whether it's $100,000 scratch off or it's $100 million Powerball. Have all these tools, but they don't know how to use them. They invest into crazy businesses that their brother-in-law wants to get into. They buy a crazy lavish house where they don't even really understand the property tax on that house is going to be 6 figures a year. The electricity, $7,000 a month, ridiculous things, and so they go bankrupt. When you understand that the more money you have, the more tools you own, and you start to figure out what your money can do for you, you start to utilize it differently, and you understand that throwing it away will never bring any return or bring any value to the income that you do have. One way we can begin to save and grow our money is to invest it properly. If you don't know how to invest your money, because you've never invested or had a SEP IRA or CDs or money market or mutual funds or annuities or anything to that nature, here's the very first place that you can start to invest your money: into yourself and into your savings. Put it away so you can have something of financial significance in order to make a wise decision when an opportunity may arrive in the future where you can plant your money someplace. It will give you a bigger return. I like the way I watch the Shark Tank all the time. I love that show. And I like the way my man put it. He said, my money is like little soldiers. I want to send them off into war, and I want them to bring me back some POWs, that's prisoners of war. I'm sending you off and bring me back some prisoners. I want to see my money come back with some of their friends. I sent Andrew Jackson out there. I don't want him to just bring back George Washington. I want to bring back some of them other big bills. Come back over to my house so we can all play together. Guys, your money is supposed to be designed in order to grow itself. So you have to put it into your savings account just to begin with, so you can start to gather some more of it so you can use it effectively in the future. There's so many other areas, you guys, that we can make sacrifices in our lives to have and gain financial prosperity. But if you don't ever start, you'll never get to the point that you want to be in. And you don't want to look back one day and think, I'm 30 years old, I'm 40 years old, I'm 50 years old, I'm not where I thought I'd be at this certain point in time in my life. In my business, you guys, I think about this all the time as well, too. You know, you have to have an insurance license to work in the insurance industry, to sell insurance. Tuition for schools, $50. Background check is $10 with the department, or with the sheriff's office, FBI background check here in North Carolina. You got to pay $187 to the Department of Insurance for your license application fee. Then you got to pay, $46 a test or so at Pearson VUE. Go take your state exam. Sometimes when people come in for interviews, they don't have $50 to get started on their online insurance class. And I think after 70 years, sometimes some old people come in, after 40 years of working, 25 years of working, your whole life, you're 45, you've been working since you're 18, you haven't saved $50 to your name at this point in time. Guys, what are we doing? If we continue the process and the cycle, we're never going to get better, you guys. We have to start with ourselves. The hardest person to make a change in is always going to be yourself. I talked about that this morning. I sent a message out to my people. Actually, it was a quote, I believe, from James Allen. And I'll read it to you guys because I think it actually makes a lot of sense in what we're talking about. And so the quote that I found online this morning, it stated this: men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. This is James Allen. So think about that for a second, guys. How can we ever take control over our external situations or finances when we don't have the discipline or power to control ourselves and to control our spending habits? We want to be financially stable and provide security for our family and our future, but we can't control our spending habits. We think the more money that we make, the better that we're doing because we're able to afford more things, and we never think about how much more we can afford to save at that point. Guys, this is why you have to fix yourself first in order to have power to fix the circumstances around you. I'm going to leave you on that note, and I guarantee that we'll continue to talk about money and finances. We want to take it from a very, very baby stage right now, especially with our newer listening audience, and I want to grow everybody. I want you guys to grow along with me in this process so we can get to the things that are a lot more detailed, that requires a little bit more financial savvy to even understand some of these principles and concepts. We're going to go baby walk, baby stages, crawling and walking and running and sprinting. So you guys, thank you for tuning in this week. Once again, you're listening to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. Once again, I'm your host, Randall Cook, a.k.a. The Chef. Follow me on Facebook, Randall Dane Cook. Follow me on Instagram, Randall Dane Cook. Send me an email, successrecipe4, the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. Visit my business page, https://agency.ailife.com/Randall Cook / we're going to continue the journey And just remember, you guys, everybody wants, very few are willing. Until next time, be blessed.